Okay. Your New England Patriots have pulled off the most epic comeback in Super Bowl history. This is Patriots Wrap 360. Let's go!
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
We are the champions. We are the champions.
Champions, Mike.
What's up, champion?
Yet again, my friend.
How you doing?
Super Bowl champs, buddy.
As Mr. Kraft likes to say, we are all Patriots.
I feel like a
And
Patriot.
for the fifth time, the Patriots are Super Bowl
Super
world
Bowl
champions.
champions.
Wow. Wow.
Insanity.
That's all I can say, dude. Hello, champion.
Hello to you, my friend, and my
Yes.
fellow champion.
Indeed.
Oh, nice. Little-
It's great. Couple champions coming out to you. A bunch of champions hopefully tuning in. Alongside Danny Harris, I'm Mike Conley. Danny, why don't you tell everybody how they can get in touch with you?
Sure thing, Mike. You can find me on Twitter at Deehaas, Deehaas. Was that too many E's? Deehaas. How about yourself?
Well, still off the social media, but, we're getting closer. Anyways,
Inching closer.
Inching.
It's a game of inches.
it is indeed. It is that football is as well. Just unbelievable, dude. I mean,
I'm still in shock a bit, to
it
be
is.
honest.
Gang, thanks for tuning in. This is our weekly Relevance discussion on all things Patriots, Patriots Wrap 360. If you want to join said discussion, you can hit up the D-House on his Twitter, or you can hit us up if you're watching live on the YouTube chat room, and let us know if you want to stir this Relevance discussion in a different direction. We can do that, but we're obviously talking Super Bowl and the Pats, and after Super Bowl 49, I thought there was no way in hell they could pull off a more dramatic win than that, and once again the Patriots prove me wrong.
I don't know that anyone now moving forward can pull off a more dramatic Super Bowl win.
It's insane.
I mean, that was improbable to say the least. It's insane watching it back to even kind of wrap your head around how exactly they dug themselves out of that hole.
Let's do our best.
It's amazing.
So scoreless first quarter. For some reason the Patriots can't score in the first quarter in the Super Bowl. Crazy, but that whole first half, which we won't spend much time on at all, but
I mean, they didn't. Why should we?
yeah. Well, I mean, Tim Brady was in there, and luckily Tom came out for the second half.
I think it was Matt Damon.
it might have been. Did you see that Kimmel
Yeah.
thing? That was pretty funny. If you haven't seen that, check it out. Jimmy Kimmel, Matt Damon. He finally got on the show in the guise of Tom Brady, but I'm sure you've seen it. Just unbelievable. So they come on the first half, and the D is like not playing bad, and like the offense is kind of moving the ball,
Right.
But in the time of possession is lopsided in the Pats' favor,
Right.
But it's just like, hey, the Falcons are scoring quick, and then a defensive touchdown, and Brady was a terrible, terrible throw on that one.
That was brutal. Yeah, I mean, I felt encouraged by it. Like the first quarter was, a lot of the guys, both teams, I think, kind of feeling things out. 3 and outs. I was encouraged though by the fact that our defense was stopping their offense, and I always have faith that ours is going to get it going. So you're already seeing the makings in my mind of what could, be a good Patriots W. Obviously, the first big red flag was LG
Oh,
fumbling the ball. That's
my
tough.
dog on the 30 going in,
Yeah.
and then and Brady's pick was on like the 23. Or something.
Those were both huge drive killers, and then just the momentum off. Then the Falcons started getting it going, and it's like, all right, they're moving the ball now. You felt encouraged by that drive. After the fumble's going to happen. That was a great defensive play. LG's not one to normally fumble the ball, but that stuff happens. But so that was a tough break. But the pick six was pretty much inexcusable. I mean, he just read and made the play. I mean, it was tough. It was tough. That was one of the more low points.
Very much a low point.
It was a low point.
I mean, I was like, and then Brady, takes that impossible pursuit angle, because when you run, you're not going to run down a cornerback when you're running on a 5.3 40.
No, you
know, so
Yeah.
no matter what. The
Great
angle.
effort, though. He laid out for it.
He did lay it out, and I'm like, oh my God, don't let that be the indelible image of the
Right.
Super Bowl. The goat flat on his stomach.
Right.
I was in dire straits.
I think there's been several TV movies and feature films where that's how the high school quarterback goes down, I'm pretty sure.
I'll tell you what.
But yeah, I mean, that drive, too, before the pick six, if you remember, too, it seemed like, okay, things are turning around here. Like, the ridiculous 3 defensive holding calls in a row on third downs. It was just like, okay, I guess the football gods are shining upon us now. I mean, it looks like, things are favoring the Pats at that point. And then Brady comes out at I think you said the 25 or so, and just, boom, throws it, return to the house.
Ugh.
Brutal.
Yeah, we were like, we were just like, we need 7 here, we need 7. All of a sudden, 7 the other way.
Didn't feel
now
good.
It's like saying the same thing. Okay, now we need 7. Now we need 7.
Brutal, yeah.
Got 3. At least you didn't go into the half of the goose egg. First point's the hottest, as the
Right.
old saying goes. But still, it would have been nice to have 7 there.
That was another good drive. Marty B was looking pretty good out there, making he had actually a pretty decent game, all things considered. Had a few big plays, but that was another drive. I felt like to come away with 3 there to settle for the field goal. It didn't feel at that point. There's really little reason, even though we're all trying to be optimistic. There's a little reason to think this is going to be the Pats' day. It seemed like, man, we can't catch a break. Brady was missing some throws that he normally would make. Oof, it wasn't looking great. But
Doc halftime. But I know I wasn't a fan of Lady Gaga before the game, but now whenever she's on, I'm going to turn her up.
is that true?
I mean,
She brought the juju.
she brought the juju.
I heard that the
Evidently.
jump.
I mean, we talk about this comeback in the second half. I may very well break into tears. We might have to play a little Gaga so I can kind of have my own epic
No question.
comeback. You know?
Around the nation, Republicans and Democrats were holding hands while she performed, and not a dry eye in the country, I would say. Her jump from the ceiling, or the roof, though, allegedly was staged, by the way. I don't know if...
When all those
anyone who
drones
was-
like behind her making the American flag and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't explain that.
It's pretty crazy.
Very crazy.
That's a new technology we're going to see a lot of. So
Technologia.
second half comes out, and I mean the Pats. Interesting enough, the Atlanta pulls a Belichick and they win the opening toss and defer.
Right.
You would have thought a team that had scored a touchdown on in the last 8 games would have taken that ball to keep that rolling. So he tried to pull a Belichick on him, take it in the second half. So the D comes out, sets the tone, have them go 3 and out, which is huge.
Right.
And then unfortunately, on the Pats' first drive, they go 3 and out because
Yeah, I think
there's some drops.
Jules had a drop on third down there.
Hogan had a drop. Hogan's would have been a kind of a tough catch, but
Right.
and then of course on there, I think next possession they get like a kind of key PI on Malcolm Butler that allows them to kind of keep the drive alive. They punched it in 28-3 with 8:30 left in the third.
That did not feel good. That was also the drive where Taylor Gabriel broke Butler's ankles on that one move. And that guy, I mean, he was getting open often. There was a lot of, I mean, I haven't, tried to break down the all-22 film or anything like that, but or read an article that did it for me. But it seemed like there were either some broken coverages at points or, I mean, granted, this team is fast, but there was a lot of open space for some of these guys that are just kill you in open space. So luckily the result was what it was because it'd be a long day of film, I think.
Oh, big time. This would have been a
the
long
result
show.
different.
It actually probably would have been a short show. We would have summed this up in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I mean, 28-3, yet another low point.
I mean, the
it was
lowest.
just
That's where it's really not feeling good. You felt okay after they stopped them 3 and out, got the ball back, and then the drops are just kind of killing you.
Yeah.
And then for them to drive down the field and punch it in, and Matty Ice was looking pretty good at that point. He was slinging it. Their guys were getting open, making plays, and when you're down 28-3, I think there's 8.5 minutes left in the third at that point.
He had a good game. Matty
He did.
Ryan. Congrats on your regular season MVP. Keep your chin up. Sorry, I mean,
You had to feel good. You had to feel a little boost that the night before the Super Bowl, it's announced that, hey, a guy that's not Tom Brady just won MVP the night before he has to play Tom Brady.
And the last 7 Super Bowls have featured the MVP of the league on the losing team.
Wow.
Is that insane?
You can't write that stuff.
No.
You can't write it.
Crazy. So then that next possession, they start out with that on a third. They get to the first third and down, and they try that double pass for Edelman, and he throws it back to D. Lou. D. Lou gets a hand on it, but can't reel it in. But I was like, oh my god, we're at this point in the game. We're pulling the tricks.
If
out.
it felt desperate, it's because it was.
Yes.
And desperate times, desperate measures. It kind of struck me as more like Jules actually threw a pretty good ball, dropped it in the bucket, but it felt dangerous to me, like him throwing across the field.
Yeah.
Not to mention Atlanta's D at that point were still playing solid ball, and they were prepared for that. Like
That was good coverage.
good coverage. Like normally when we've seen those plays in the past, there's
Wide
a lot of green surrounding that guy that's going to catch the ball.
That one, it's like almost like, well, maybe you should have thrown that away. you
Yeah,
know?
that
But-
seemed dangerous to throw it across the field too. It didn't have that certain mystique about it as the play was unfolding. It felt
Yes.
like this is gonna go poorly.
Yeah.
It didn't feel good.
No. Actually, when it hit the ground, I was like, that's okay.
Yeah, thank
But-
you. Let's not do that again.
But then the desperation continued as they had to go for it on 4th down in their own end.
Yes,
But a huge play by Danny Amendola, a guy making huge plays all night.
he did have a nice game.
In his hometown, which is huge. He lived
Yeah.
within a baseball throw of the stadium growing up. And, just a guy that, is always there. You never hear fanfare for this guy.
Right.
I mean, if Bill goes to him and say, all right, we want you to pay us $25,000 a year to stay on the team, I think that guy would say yes.
Hey, it's working
There's
out
a
for him,
couple
all right,
guys like that, But that was unbelievable. So that was a huge first down. And, of course, later in that drive, Brady, you can, time his scrambles with a sundial. He has that one.
Boom. I thought that was huge, though. Between
Huge.
that conversion on 4th down and then he runs for the first, that's where you start to get that sense, like, the tide's turning right now.
Yes. And that was like 3rd and 8, so a big conversion. And, he goes for 15. And I was kind of expecting the Brady get up when
Right. Very businesslike.
it was very businesslike. And in the moment, I was like, come on, get your boys fired up, and I was pissed. But then after a while, I was like, businesslike is the way,
yeah.
when you're down 25, obviously. But unbelievable. So then they score,
James White.
James White. This kid's ridiculous.
Man, watching that game back, I had even more of appreciation for how good of a game he had. I mean, best game as a Patriot at the best time. I mean, really a great game. Probably his best game as a runner. And, I mean, he actually led the team in receiving.
Yeah.
I mean, just a great game.
Only guy in Super Bowl history to rush for 2 touchdowns and also get over 100 receiving yards.
Unbelievable.
And not to mention,
What do you think Marshall Falk has to say about that?
He sets up a reception for sets a record for receptions in the Super Bowl, 14.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. So, and then Brady, said like in his press conference the next day, I think he's like,
You did
James
really
White
good.
should have got the MVP.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He gave him, did he give him
gonna
the
give him the
truck,
truck.
and he's in Disneyland right
Same
now?
as Malcolm,
Same routine.
Well, I think Disneyland was like just a whirlwind trip. He just went down there for like 20 hours.
Oh,
I
really?
think, because he was at the parade.
Yeah.
You
Got
know.
a turkey leg and headed back, I
It's
guess.
crazy.
That was that the let me see, was that when we missed the extra point though on that play, or that came later? I think it was, because that was,
yeah, we missed the extra point.
so that was another, like, it was like, all right, yes, like, you're coming off the big run, sneak, some big plays, big conversions, punch it in, things are looking up, donk, misses the extra point, and it's like, okay. I mean, there were just so many points that you just felt like, gee, this
right
is
when we
just,
get it going, a little bit more of a setback.
yeah, I mean, just the omens were not good
Ugh.
at this point.
So the desperation kind of continued with the onside kick on
Yes.
the ensuing kickoff. Didn't
Not
get it.
well executed.
Illegal touch by Ghost. But then the defense rises up. Big
Huge.
sack on Ryan.
Flowers, big game for
Dude,
Flowers.
Flowers, 2.5 sacks. Kid's a
Unreal.
beast.
Unreal.
Kid is a beast. So that was unbelievable because, pretty much on that onside kick, they had such great field position. You were thinking they're going to come away with 3 here, at least.
It's unbelievable, yeah.
And then we'll need 3 touchdowns. It's ridiculous. So, ridiculous. We forced the punt. And then the ensuing... this is when I felt like Tom really stepped up
Oh,
his game
100%.
and just locked in.
He was slinging it.
He was slinging. He was throwing laser beams from this point forward, and everything was right on the money. That 3rd and inches arc ball to Marty B.
Yeah.
Dude, that was a huge conversion and a huge gain. But
Mitchell really came alive at this point too, and it was interesting to see that Mitchell that Brady was going to Mitchell in those key moments, and he, the kid's delivered. He's definitely delivered. So good signs moving forward from him.
Huge,
Very
huge.
exciting.
I do want to talk about him a little bit more later. So then they're in a to-goal situation, and Brady gets sacked twice, and then I think there's a mix-in of like a James White 1-yard loss on like a pass, screen pass, but that was almost a blessing in disguise because if they're like 4th and goal from the 5, maybe they decide to go for it.
Right.
But ended up kicking the 3, getting within the 2 scores.
Take the
Brady
points.
runs off. He's like, hey, we need, and like I was yelling with the people I was watching with. I was like,
Yeah,
But yet it was another down time because we had to settle for 3 with that much deep penetration.
Right. I mean, it was great because it got you within 2 scores. But then, you know what's funny?
2
My
scores
mind starts
and
thinking
2 points.
that's
so you're
what,
like, ugh.
I'm worried at that point. You got to dial up 2. You know, aside from driving down the field against the defense that's playing good ball and stopping the most powerful offense in the league, you got to have those 2 plays and execute them, which are not, typically they're not the easiest plays to pull off.
The success rate on 2-point conversions in the NFL is 50%.
Yeah,
So you got to think we're going to get one of them and fall 2 points short.
that's how the math adds up. Right
It
there.
is.
That is how the
I
math
didn't
adds
even
up.
need my little professor.
But yeah, I mean, that was at that point again. It was another one like, okay, a great drive. Oh, and they settle for the 3.
Exactly, another setback.
Though mathematically things are lining up okay, you're still kind of like, gee whiz here, fellas.
Would have been nice
Gee
to
whiz.
get that. So that puts us down 16 with 9:44 left. Ridiculous. So then, potentially the gigantic play of the game
Certainly one of
on
3.
the ensuing series. Dante Hightower just comes in and annihilates Matt Ryan, strips the ball.
Great block attempt by Freeman on Hightower.
Freeman, for some reason, is on the right side, and he's looking over the left side at who's rushing over there. When Hightower comes in, he just sees Hightower. Patriots like,
Oh, yeah.
now, that was a ridiculous play. I'm gonna make a play like that, and it was just boom, boom, boom. It was just
Tackling
going
my
bonkers.
friend into the couch or going bananas.
Lot of
Was it Branch? I don't know.
I watched the game with but probably about 30 people. Some of them little ones, and they saw their fathers and some mothers just yelling like children, and
Probably
it was,
picked up a couple new vocab words.
Oh yeah, a lot of new. Well, I mean, they might not be new, but it was just amazing. I mean, and then. So that puts them on the 25 going in. Just a huge play, shortens the field.
Ridiculous.
And that ends in the Amendola touchdown. A pass into the, I think the left flat for Odola on that one, or maybe it was the right flat. But and then James White scores the 2 on that Kevin Falk play with the fake. I love that.
Oh
play.
yeah, so do the
I mean,
Patriots.
Yeah, they sure do. I mean, we saw that puppy in Super
yeah.
Bowl 36, I do believe.
old Charlie
with the
Weiss.
aforementioned Kev Falk. Yeah, so that was just unbelievable, unreal.
It was feeling. I mean, you're feeling pretty damn stoked at that point. You're feeling like, okay, it's going down.
Yeah,
It's going down. I mean, very
it
excited.
was indeed going down because they would get the 2:20, and probably around 4.5 left at that point. So that's when you really could kind of feel the collective asshole of the Atlanta Falcons pucker up a little bit.
No question.
On that one.
By that you
Getting
mean
within one
Arthur
score.
Blank and his wife, I think.
Yeah, trying to dance.
They danced their way all the way down to the sideline by this point and had to watch the rest of the game unfold from right there with the
Don't
team.
they know you stay where you are?
I mean,
when things are
dude.
going your way, that's crazy. I mean, we had to switch things up a little bit at halftime. We had people switching shirts, switching chairs.
Samesies. My buddy, I won't name any names in case he's listening, but one of my buddy's girlfriends stepped outside at halftime, and she never entered the house again. Put it that way.
Was she escorted out, or
She was escorted,
was she wearing Falcons gear?
No, but she was wearing extra sweaters by the time the game ended because it was not that warm at that point. But you mix it up like that and things turn around. You got to ride that wave.
I could have been shirtless out there like Gronk at the parade, and I still would have been warm
Spiking beers, no doubt.
with that. So then the ensuing drive, Julio makes that unbelievable catch,
Oh, my
and you
God.
just kind of throwing up your hands like every time in the Super Bowl. Ridiculous catches happen, and like at first, naked eye, I was like, he's out of bounds.
Same.
But I mean, that guy's he's the best. He's the best receiver in the league, I think.
I mean, he just makes plays like that. He had a few catches in the game where you're just like, no, yep, he did it again. But that one felt like a backbreaker, especially the time of the game, the immensity of that play, and then the field position you put them in. that was a one where it did have the makings of another curse, another Tyree. There it is. Yeah. So it felt bad, put it that way. Because I think they had the ball. You may have said it. They had the ball at like the 23. Then after that,
well, after that was the 22-yard line. So this is as low as it kind of gets. Because then you're like, okay, they're at the 22. Pat's 22 with 4:10 left. All you do is you run it in there. Boom. Right now it's a 40-yard field goal.
Right.
Matt Bryant's one of the best kickers in the game.
Right.
He's going to drill a 40-yarder. Okay. So now it's just hand off, run it in a yard and a ball of smoke, whatever
Right.
it is, and you have the Pats burn out their timeouts.
Right.
You kick the 3. The Pats are probably out of timeouts at this point, and you're up 2 scores. You're up 11
Right.
points with probably about 3.5 to go.
it's insane.
And the Pats have to score twice. Do you think that play call to pass there, worse call than not running Marshawn 2 years ago?
No, I don't think it's
Okay.
worse, but I think it's pretty damn bad.
It's
I think
pretty
it's
damn
pretty
bad.
damn bad. Yeah, I don't know what that is, and now if we'll get to another play that's questionable later too, but you just don't know. Is that like these guys second guessing themselves? Is it these guys trying to think outside the box? Is that like
I think it's just a case
doing what got you there? Or?
doing what got you there, and like they've played the whole season of like, okay, if I read this coverage, they're in 0 coverage,
Right.
So I'm throwing this ball deep, and if you look, he's got Aldrick Robinson like all alone.
Yeah.
Like if he has an extra 0.2 seconds,
Game, set, match.
yeah, that's 6. But thankfully he didn't. Yeah, because who Trey Flowers, dude, again.
Yeah,
this kid,
huge.
amazing, right up the middle, and that was like a loss, like 13. So they're still on the fringe. They can kick like a 53-yarder now.
Right.
So then there's a holding penalty.
I mean the sack was immense. The loss of 12, and then on the heels of that, holding call. So then it's 3rd and 33. Is that what you just said too?
Yeah,
And then he throws an incomplete pass.
got a punt. It's huge.
That was unbelievable.
So
I mean, that
huge.
stuff again, like you said. I mean, that's literally. I mean, you gotta give some credit to the Falcons for shooting themselves in the foot at that point because, I mean, you gotta have that killer instinct there.
That was amazing.
Brutal.
I mean, this kid
Brutal
is
for them.
just
Amazing
a
for us.
beast in the making.
No question.
Okay, so then Pats get the ball back. They still have to score after all this and get a 2 still. Don't forget. And then
91 yard. They already got the ball at the 9-yard line. So you need a 90+ yard drive. You need a touchdown and you need 2 points. And you got 3.5 minutes left to do it.
all you can say is TGWHTB. Thank God. Yeah, Tom Brady.
That's actually what I said. in the
Yeah,
moment.
exactly. So
TGW.
the goat. Thank God the goat's under center. So it's like no big deal. At this
Unbelievable.
point, I'm thinking we're gonna score. I'm already worried about the 2-pointer.
Until
at this point.
that first play, I'm worried about that as well. But
Okay.
he's got his call up to Pink Stripes already. As soon as they got it within 16, he's calling up to Ernie and he's dialing up a few plays. I think that's his role.
Ernie Zampese.
Ernie Adams, the forgotten man.
I've forgotten, man. I don't even know who that is.
You don't? Bill's like best buddy that has like the strangest position in the league.
Oh,
Pink
really?
Stripe, you ever watch Do Your Job and stuff? They go way back. They've always been together, and he's like the
The
basically
play
just
guru.
a huge nerd burglar.
I love that. So
He's an odd duck.
Ridiculous
the
play.
criminal mastermind.
ridiculous play on this drive was Edelman's catch.
I mean, that was completely ridiculous.
Oof.
Completely ridiculous. At the beginning of this drive, just to touch on it,
Yeah.
if you recall, Brady was nearly sacked on the first play in the end zone or at the 1-yard line, and then throws the ball out, and it looked dangerous. Then he threw to Hogan and missed him again, which there was a decent amount of that happening. And third down, he converts to Hogan, hits Mitchell. And then we get to that point, and Jules makes the catch that, I mean, again, we talked about Julio's catch, and now it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. And again, that's when you start feeling like not only has the tide turned, but this is now a thing of magic. that
Quite
is
possibly
unfolding.
2 of the top 5 catches in Super Bowl history, and they come
Absolutely.
inside of like 2 minutes of
It's
each other.
insanity.
Insanity. And like, did you think? I mean, at first I was like, I was like, he caught it.
Unreal.
And,
yeah.
and then seeing it, I mean, you couldn't slip the Sunday Globe underneath that. Maybe not even the Monday Globe.
It's literally
where
unreal.
he caught that.
I mean, it's like he had it
And then he goes
against the
and clutches it
legs,
again.
and then it popped. Yeah, he let his hands off, and I
Which I
mean,
was
it's
like,
unbelievable.
Oh, insane.
It's literally unbelievable.
I can't put it ahead of Tyree, but
There was one other thing that I forget exactly where it happened. That was another like sign of the tides turning. That Marty B catch on the ball that was tipped, where it got tipped as Brady threw it,
yeah.
popped up, and it was like, oh no, there's another pick. Do you remember that play? And then
And
Marty
the one
came
in the
down
end
with it.
zone?
No,
Oh,
no,
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 okay,
no.
gotcha.
Earlier on an earlier drive. I forget exactly when it happened, but sorry, I had to give props to Marty for that. That was a huge play as well.
Marty also playing in his hometown, so came to play that night. That was good.
Marty.
So the TD is the rush up the middle by James White. Good job, O-line. And then the two-pointer, Doler in the flat.
Unreal.
Hometown boy. Gets it done. Offsides D. Declined. Bingo, bango. We got it tied up at 28. 57 seconds left. I was like, book this. You don't want this to go to OT. It's going to be over.
Unreal.
And especially when the Pats win the toss, it's like, oh, Slade is like, we want the ball.
Unbelievable.
We want the ball. And then, Brady just throwing laser beams. He was like, Edelman goes to him. He's like, let's win it.
It's unbelievable.
Let's win it for your mom. And he was just like, that apparently was what had to be said.
Unbelievable.
Because he was like super accurate.
Unbelievable.
On that drive in overtime.
You can't, I mean, it's just, there's not even words. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Best wishes going out to Galen Brady, by the way.
No question.
Your son is doing best to heal you with
Football magic.
ridiculous comebacks. Oh, man. So, big pass interference call on that ball to Marty B in the end zone. I mean, that would have been kind of remarkable that if he won it in his hometown.
At first glance, I thought he should have caught the ball. And then you see, oh, wait, he's getting clotheslined
Yeah.
and, kind of face guarded there. So,
Still got a hand on it a little bit.
yeah. Could have trapped it. Could have trapped it.
Yeah.
He's a big, strong man.
Yeah.
Would have been amazing. That would have been amazing.
It would have been amazing.
Turns out it was still amazing, regardless.
Still amazing. Next play, a little bit of a hot in the mouth play was that tip.
Now, yes. Now, that play was one where I'm saying, is that, if whatever you were saying, that other play, is that one of the most questionable plays since Pete Carroll? I mean, we nearly had a Pete Carroll moment right there.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's
like just run it in. We're at the two.
if that ball was intercepted,
Yeah.
which it almost was, if
Yeah.
Beasley was,
He got one hand
had
on
better hands. I mean, yeah, I think it was his left hand. So I'm not going to judge the guy. He made a nice play breaking it up. But if he picked that ball off, we're having a different show right now.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
But then you could kind of tell that they're gonna run it from here on out.
No
obviously.
question.
And oddly enough, I was kind of puzzled with the fact they didn't run it up the middle. That we were kind of hopping on last week of being kind of the weak part of the Atlanta D, and the fact that their team speed maybe wouldn't be effective running outside.
That seemed to be the case the whole game as well. They started off with LeGarrette. I was boldly predicting 3+ TDs for LeGarrette running up
We
the
were
gut.
way off.
Yeah, I did have, I safeguarded it with the sleeper stud pick of James White, at least among my buddies.
That
But
a boy.
I mean, hey,
If you didn't say it on this program, it never happened.
I may have. I don't know. I didn't. We got to look back at the tape. Unbelievable though, and White, obviously, everyone here knows what happened then. James White breaks the plane.
So
Man,
sick.
and what a great play, great effort play right there too, right?
Good effort out of Marcus Cannon getting out there, throwing a block. And then James White, I think in the post game, was like, he said he had to overpower one guy to get in the end zone. That was like 3. That
Unbelievable.
was, at least 2.5.
It might have felt like 1.
That third guy came on, and the plane might have been broken all out. But, I mean, just ridiculous. James White, dude.
And then,
Unreal.
yeah, I mean, his game, just watching it back again, it's like, it really sinks in. Like, this guy made play after play, a huge run after the catch on the balls he caught, and, his best running performance, punching it in. Had no rushing TDs this season, had 2 in the Super Bowl. That's crazy.
I know. That's insane.
It's banana.
And the Pats, who we were talking, for the past few weeks, of how they hadn't trailed since week 12.
Yeah.
Didn't
Got
have the
that
lead in
right
this
out
game.
of the gate, didn't they?
Didn't have the lead in this game until the final play.
Oh, man.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
And then, so everybody's going bonkers. There's great that sound effects because Edelman's like holding for a review.
Yeah.
And like he's like, no, they
I'm
gotta
the same
review it.
thing.
He's like
I'm doing
he's
the same
firing
thing,
people
yeah.
off the field, and he's like like strength and condition coach. He's like throwing them off the field, and then Bill comes over. And
tells
Bill's
him.
is like, and he's like, wait, they
Amazing.
gotta review it. He's like, they reviewed it. And
I thought they
just
did a
mayhem.
poor job. Granted, I'm in a room full of people screaming, and I was kind of doing the same thing myself. Like, this play hasn't been before anything was announced, and almost immediately, as soon as they signaled that, and as we know, every scoring play gets reviewed. I mean, the confetti was already flying. This was like a band marching on the field kind of moment, and it was. I mean, God forbid that was called back or like. It was kind of nuts,
It
And
is.
I felt like they did a poor job, though, of announcing it both on the TV and to the stadium that was officially reviewed and touchdown.
Yeah, I mean,
It was already jubilee.
I'm saying fire that cannon of confetti because right when he breaks the plane, you think, and the ref's arms go up. I mean, it's so anticlimactic if it's like everybody pauses at that, and
Right.
even is withholding in the most jubilation they've ever felt in their life.
The
For the
NFL loves that
officials.
dramatic moment.
Oh
though.
man, I don't. I'll
Oh,
tell
my
you that.
God.
I know he broke it with my naked eye here in Burbank,
man.
California. I knew it.
I'm just still in shock. I mean, what a comeback.
Sick.
What a game.
Best of all time. Nobody's ever come back. 10.
First
the highest.
overtime
This
game
is
in
25.
Super Bowl history, too,
First
right?
OT game in Super Bowl
Unbelievable.
history. And then the moment we were all been waiting for.
If you want to crown him.
Goodell up there, handing over the trophy. Brady's down with his family off the stage.
Yeah.
Bill's talking to somebody. And like Kraft isn't even listening to him. He's just like, give me the trophy, gets the trophy, like throws a hand out like this and does it, And
I
it's
mean,
just
boogied
like,
out of there.
oh, boogie.
I think he was on one of those hoverboards. He moved so quickly. out of
Goodell, I think he kind of broke the ice like before the actual presentation. He went up and
Saw
shook
that,
Brady's
yeah,
hand, just to kind of like let's get the awkward out now.
Yeah.
And I think he said something like that was amazing or something like that. But of course, yeah, it's
It was amazing.
It is amazing.
Maybe he's right
Isn't
about
it
that one thing.
Amazing. So just and like it. The Pats Nation knows no bounds. I mean, we're hated all over, but then we are all over as well. And Nerd Stadium, it was like Foxborough.
Showering him in booze.
Showering in
Amazing.
booze.
That was
So
amazing.
sick. And I had a buddy down there who went, friend of the program, sometimes comes on, Anthony Molari, he was down there. And he was like, it's 80% Pats fans down there.
Unreal.
It's ridiculous. And you could tell in that showering of booze. And, that's going to
Much
continue for
deserved.
the rest of his career,
Much deserved. I mean,
Taste
almost
it, Goodell.
as
Taste
much
it.
as people hate the Pats, there's a wealth of hate for Goodell, in most cities as well. So, but yeah, I mean, it was a beautiful thing. What a way to do it.
Oh, so
5 Super Bowl wins. I mean, it's just a great tribute to Brady, and just to think back on the season and being suspended, all of that, the 4-game head start and all that. It's pretty remarkable.
you couldn't script it any better, man.
I
It's
will say
unbelievable.
this team this year, I mean, and it's a testament to what I'm about to say, but to watch them come back like that, and with the stakes as high as they can possibly be, you did have that feeling, in the weeks following the Jamie Collins trade, that this team did have like something special about them. It's hard to identify that always because we're so spoiled now with these teams that win 12 to 15 games.
Yeah.
But I mean, this team had that. They had that special something, and you heard Belichick allude to it at different points during the season. But man, what an amazing game, and man, it's another time to celebrate as a Pats fan. Feels pretty good.
We're just so fortunate, as Pats fans.
It's ridiculous.
Because you look in especially in this age of free agency, to have a dynasty like this, and really when you look at it, it's kind of like two dynasties. I mean, obviously the through thread is B&B
Right.
and Bob Kraft, and call it 3Bs. But they're kind of forming that same identity on the defensive side of the ball. We talked a little bit
Right.
about this last week. Guys that go down in Patriot lore, like Teddy Bruschi and Willie McGinnis.
Absolutely.
He of the post-game F-bomb. And, dude, him bringing in the trophy, that was dynamite. Why does Michael Strahan
Yeah,
come
I
in
don't
and take
know
from?
why he was doing that.
Like, you have Willie McGinnis there, and then maybe you have, Billy White Shoes Johnson or Jesse Tuggle if the Falcons win.
Yeah, maybe not an open Pats hater.
know?
That was awkward, I thought,
It was,
as well.
yeah, it's just that I would like to send Willie Mack, just tuck that, Heisman, Strahan, and just
yeah,
keep
buddy.
on going. But oh jeez,
Tippett was in the building. I know that too.
Was he?
Why shouldn't it be
It's
him?
one of my favorites. But so now, and we were putting Devin McCourty in that kind of. Obviously, Hightower is too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with his play
They
in
gotta
this,
lock him up.
and with his play in, stopping Marshawn on that other one,
Mm-hmm.
so we got to lock him up, and we got to talk a little bit about that. I mean,
Yes.
we got about 10 minutes of show left. I do want to look ahead a little bit to next season because the Pats have many pending free agents.
Yes.
Before we do get into that, I wanted to check off one box of. I did want to give Fantasy Stats Guru just a little shout out because
No
this
doubt.
kid, he's like our number one fan this season.
question.
And I know he hit us up on the YouTube page last week. He was kind of wondering us, who do you think the Pats' best value pick was in the draft the past 3 years?
Wow.
I think I got to go with Trey Flowers on that.
Okay.
That was like 2 years ago, fourth round, second pick of the fourth round. But you can also throw James White in there, who was a fourth round of the year previous.
Right.
Shaq Mason was a fourth rounder. I think this kid took leaps and bounds this year.
No question.
He
Did get destroyed in one play in the Super Bowl,
He
but that's
did.
neither. nor
He
there.
did. But he really, outside of Marcus Cannon, he was probably the offensive lineman, I think, that made the biggest jump this
Definitely,
year.
definitely.
I mean, I can see this kid making a Pro Bowl here in the next few years.
Certainly a great run blocker, no question.
Oh,
about it.
so good. And it really showed because like that right, he played a lot of left guard last year. He was in that right guard, which is where he's comfortable, where he played in college, and it kind of showed. So I did want to answer that for him. His other question was, we're always up Dante Scarnecchi is asked. Like, other than him, who is a assistant coach that is very I forget the word he was, like indispensable or something like that, or influential, I think he said. So I thought about this a lot. I was thinking Ivan Fears. I mean, he's pretty good. I think Chad O'Shea though is who I would go with. I mean, because those guys play tough.
Absolutely.
And the Pats have had such a trouble in the past with like developing wide receivers and like drafting wide receivers
Right.
and all this stuff. I'm talking about Aaron Dobson, Josh Boyce, Chad Jackson, all you guys.
Right.
But now they've hit this year on bringing in Hogan via free agency and bringing in Malcolm Mitchell, and both these guys seem like they have the makeup to be with
Absolutely.
the Patriots for a long
I
time.
mean, Hogan was a home run, certainly. And Mitchell, I mean, yeah, it's rare. Obviously, we know that history. It's so rare for the rookie QBs. I'd have to go. My favorite assistant coach is still Brian Daboll. I've just loved that guy since the jump.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of reminds me of Dustin Pedroia. That maybe I'm giving him a little Pedroia love because he kind of looks like him, and
He does.
I feel like he's got a great personality. I just want to drink a beer with the guy, I mean, what's wrong with that? So much to love, though.
I do want to get into the free agents, but I know we teased last week we were going to talk about players of the year. So in 30 to 40 seconds,
Yes.
give me like your best offensive player.
Not named
Your-
Tom Brady.
Yeah, you can't pick goats. So give me your best. We already kind of covered the coaches. We would both give it to Dante.
Yeah.
So
I'll start with D because I'll have to come back to offense and think
Okay,
about it.
okay.
Best defensive player, I think you could give it to Hightower. Alan Branch is my player of the year. I mean, just the unsung
Alan
player
Branch
of the
is
year.
huge.
Butler was everything that we wanted him to be and more this year. Obviously, Logan Ryan got the big money.
merged.
He's gonna and I mean, I'm just basically giving everyone props, but the safety play was so steady all year and kind of you don't have to think twice about it.
Yeah.
Offensive rookie, I know you asked me about too.
Yeah.
I think you could give it to Tooney potentially, though he got a little inconsistent down the stretch. Malcolm Mitchell, obviously.
Yeah.
He started out slow but delivered.
Yeah.
What do you think about
I would
offensive
give
rookie?
it to Tooney. Being a former left guard myself, I have affinity for the position, and
Yes.
I think just to come in as a rookie, and especially where that unit was a little bit lampooned last year, he kind of really solidified the interior
question.
of that offensive line. So I love that kid.
Defensive rookie.
If we could say Trey Flowers just because he played 1 year last year, I would go that way. Otherwise, probably Vinny Valentine, just because.
Yeah, I mean he showed flashes. I still like Landon Roberts too. Just I feel like he
Yeah.
did it more frequently than Valentine.
sixth-round
Valentine's
pick.
got he's got a bright future though, no question.
No question.
Most improved player seems kind of obvious to me. How about you? It's got to be Cannon. I mean,
Yeah.
has anybody? I feel like he really
I like
solidified
that.
his game and took it to a level that he got paid out the.
You
out
can
to
also
be.
even maybe throw Logan Ryan in that mix.
Yeah,
he
I
led
mean,
the NFL in tackles for a cornerback, 92.
I mean, he plays a solid ball out there.
He is. It's going to be hate to see him patrolling for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, he's probably not coming back, which we'll get into. Best offensive player, though. I don't know. That's tough for me, other than Tom Brady.
Yeah.
To pick one guy.
Could be James White just because he was there all year. You know,
He's
or Edelman because he's so
definitely
steady.
consistent. I mean, Edelman, when Gronk's not there, I mean, Edelman's obviously Brady's binky, is what I like to say.
That's true.
Great season.
Let's get into free agency here real quick.
So many. There's many of them.
So key. I mean, we'll just talk about the key ones. Jabal Sheard, I think he's probably gone. He kind of settled down in the second half. You know, his production wasn't there. Snaps went down. I could see him moving on. Chris Long, I could see him retiring.
Yeah,
And he also kind of petered out the end of the year.
Yeah.
He's like 32.
likable guy, but
why not go out on top?
Yeah, they're not going to reach for him. If there's value there, he'll be back, but I don't see it.
Marty B.
I think Marty B might have talked his way out of town, or just put the writing
Wrong
on the
spin
wall.
on it, yeah.
He's just being himself, but it's just going to depend on Gronk's health
When
too.
he said Super Bowl champions get paid.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like the fit there, and the production was off. It's going to be. I think it'll be really telling if he comes back, because
he played through some injuries. I think we're going to hear more about that.
Absolutely, that's going to come out.
What was awesome was Gronk at the parade when he's like, "Hey, Boston," he's like, "I know I wasn't part of the game." It was like he was like a little kid. He always is a little kid. And that's why we love the guy. But he was like, "Please, I really love being a part of this team." It was almost like he was like, "Wow, these guys can win it without me. I gotta, make myself, incredible all over again," which is good fire for that guy.
Absolutely.
I think. A lot of people have mentioned and like, oh, maybe we can do it without Gronk, but this kid, his cap number is still very reasonable for next year.
Oh, yeah.
Makes a jump in the following season, so maybe there'll be a restructuring there. That kid, I think, wants to be a Patriot. I don't know, maybe if the Buffalo Bills, his hometown team, decide to throw, $14 million a year at him next time he's up, I don't know. Maybe it'll go.
I mean, unless you're getting a slam dunk thing for Gronk, he's staying put, and the guy's a Hall of Fame. He's the most talented tight end the league's ever seen, so you keep that guy on your squad.
Dante Hightower, lock him up.
You got to. I think he's number one priority. 1A, if Butler's 1B.
Butler's a restricted free agent, so I think we got a better chance of bringing him back.
Right.
Logan Ryan, we think that guy's gone. He's probably getting paid.
Yeah, I think he's going to get the payday, and they're not going to be able to compete, and they don't tend to. So.
And, Eric Rowe kind of showed up towards the end of the year. So, in 6'2" corners don't grow on trees. Thank you very much, Eagles.
They don't.
And he kind of played pretty good because, like, Julio Jones, granted, this guy made some highlight plays.
Right.
4 catches for 87 yards. Only targeted 4 times. Caught all 4 of his targets. That's a season low of targets for him.
Ryan was on him as well, too, but...
Yeah. A little bit of him. And Malcolm was getting his legs broken by the little guy.
Yes.
But although he saw some of Sanu as well.
Yes.
But, oh, man, I'll tell you what. All
Bolden, right. Devlin, Floyd.
Garrett Blount, another guy I think that would pay the team to stay with them. He's going to be back. Who else did you just say?
Brandon Bolden, James Devlin, Michael Floyd, Deron Harmon.
Alan Branch. That's a big one. This guy's played in the league 9 or 10 years, a little long in the tooth. He almost feels like an Akeem Ayers situation where he's just I got to get my one last payday.
Yeah, I mean, you can't knock these guys for doing it, especially in light of the fact that teams will do it to them in a heartbeat. So I'd love to see him come back, though. But we do have the youth and the depth there, so it kind of does have the makings of a...
He's gonzo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vinny Valentine and Flowers emerging. So. Yeah. Seabass, he's probably going to retire. Barkevius Mingo, I mean, I don't know about that.
I don't see the value there.
He was a great special team.
Right,
if he wants to take low money just to be part of a winner,
right.
That will have to be there'll be a lot of guys on here that need to take the hometown discount. But if they believe in the Patriot way, that's what we got to do.
I wouldn't be shocked if Marty B and Gronk are both back, but I mean, they're not Marty B is not my top pick, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, we got 2 minutes left. Do they trade Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason? What do they get for him?
I think no, they don't. Only if they get something amazing. If an amazing deal falls into their lap, I don't think they reach to get rid of him.
Would you trade him for a first-round pick?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to get Cleveland's 12th overall pick for him.
You think so?
Yes. I do.
Well, then you do it.
It's a lean quarterback here in the draft. They got 3 that they say could go in the first round. I don't really see any of them as first rounders. Not when you could take Jimmy G, like not have to take him in a top 10 pick. You could waste a 12 on him. Still use your number one if you're Cleveland on fierce pass rusher from Texas A&M,
Right.
and then get him. I mean, they got to do that. So I think he's gonzo. They like Jacoby as a backup. It's kind of the way the Pats do things.
Was Jacoby wearing a Tom Brady jersey in the parade?
He was,
That's
which was amazing.
Yes.
So good. So good. So I want to thank you, my friend, for
Thank
being
you.
here all year. And Fantasy Stats Guru, of course. I do want you guys to tune in for some baseball shows that'll be coming up in early April. So take a look for that for Red Sox Wrap 360 as well as Dodgers Wrap 360. I'm not sure if the Mets show's coming back yet, but I'm going to be in touch with those guys. But look for that around April 2nd or so. So we appreciate your fandom all year. Anything you want to say in the last 10 seconds?
Thank you, brother. Great season. Happy to be here, man. It was an amazing run.
It was. Thank you, gang, so much. This has been our final edition of the season of Patriots Wrap 360. So thanks for tuning in. As always, go Pats. And rest in peace, Verdo. We lost you too soon, my brother.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.